What is up, Comic Fam? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. You tell them, hey.
Hey.
I'm Mark. This is Laura. And it's Sunday night, so that means this is At Week's End, the spoiler-filled look back at This Week in Comics, and so much more. But before we do any of that, check this out. Let's get that big shout out to Big Time Collectibles, channel sponsor who sponsor the monthly Legion Loot giveaway for the channel members. The month is winding down, so if you want to see all those prizes that are going into it this month, be sure to go back to my Instagram page and check it out. There's a lot of good stuff in there. And we also have Justin Comics over on Instagram. If you need anything cleaned or pressed, be sure to hit him up. He can take care of you for as little as $10 a book. He's got some of the fastest turnaround times around. He can submit directly to CGC or CBCS for you. And if you use that promo code We Are Legion, you get a buy two, get one free offer. So that is good stuff. Let's say hello to the chat. I got to fix this. This is going to drive me nuts. And then we shall say hello to the chat. The StreamYard service is always updating stuff. And that's one of the newer things I found is that little framing there. But let's say hello to the chat. We have Ruben Guzman up in here right at the beginning. Cowabunga fam. How are you? Appreciate you popping in. Wheelchair Superhero 87 is up in here. What is going on, Kyle? Paul Rogers, hello to the Legion. We are Legion. Awesome to have you in here as always. Station TM. So I just recorded a video with TM today that'll be popping up on his channel in the future. I think he said it's going to be the end of February before the episode that he does goes up. That man plans ahead. That is awesome. I hope you're doing good tonight. We got White Shadow himself. Let the spoilers begin. Yeah, we got a lot of fun stuff to spoil. The Comic Vet will be a little bit later tonight, just popping in because the Bills are playing against Kansas City's team. I think that's who it is. It's like Burt versus the Comic Vet in some of these chats right now. It's pretty fun. But Ryan will be here shortly. And, we'll get into a lot more when they get here. What is going on, Stephen C.? How are you doing? We got Flo Dameron in the chat. What is going on, my man? Flash6792, what is up? I'm glad you can make it. Ignacio, what is going on? DJ Lynx is in the building. We are Legion. Mars Comics, how are you doing? What is going on? TM Nerdy. Ignacio. All right, so tonight I planned on going over, as usual, what is that? The shows that dropped. We had Book of Boba Fett drop. We had the new episode of Peacemaker drop. I can't remember if there's any big comic news. I normally rely on the other guys to bring some stuff up. But as well as new comic books as usual. I'm going to save the shows for toward the end of the show. Probably go over my haul real quick. But as usual, that way so if people haven't seen it yet, they can hang out for a while before it gets spoiled. I actually had a ginormous haul this week, partly because I picked up some stuff for some other people out there in the community, and it was a huge spec week for comic books. So there's a lot of first appearances that were happening, all kinds of stuff. But there's some great stories to read this week too. But first off, I do want to start off with a good one. Silver Surfer Rebirth. So this was my hot pick for the week, going in blind. That I over on the Comic Vets channel put up the video every Sunday. So there's a new one up today for next week. But this was my hot pick going in blind, and it was really good. I'm excited to get into that. We had a new #1 for She-Hulk drop, which is decent timing. Reddit wasn't impressed. It wasn't bad. It just was it's kind of goofy, to be honest with you. But that's kind of the nature of She-Hulk comics, are normally like fourth wall breaking, kind of fun. This was one of the hot covers of the week. It's Moon Knight, issue #7 by Raza. And yeah, with that trailer dropping and just a cool cover, it kind of blew up. Managed to grab one of those. And then I picked up a copy of Venom #4. I have been reading this digitally, but I went ahead and grabbed 2 copies when I went in the shop yesterday. There was 2 left on the shelf. It was A covers too, which is awesome. But I know that it's the first appearance. I think it's Bedlam, which is like Dylan's Carnage character. But yeah, it was really cool. Huge page splash in the back of it there. But this was one that was going spec crazy, along with a few more. And here's another one. We have Hulk #3 from Donny Cates, which this is supposed to be the first cameo of appearance of that Null-esque character for Hulk. So I got a few of those. And to be honest with you, I don't know how they're going to call it a cameo. The character appears in like 6-8 panels, but this issue was better than the last 2. It's still, I'm not sold on the issue or on the series yet, but I'm going to continue reading. I'm not going to drop it, but this issue was better than the previous ones. It seemed like it was actually starting to seed an actual story now that we're 3 issues in. Strange Academy #16, another one that was a spec one, or 15, I'm sorry. It's the first cover appearance of this character here. I picked these up for a friend, so those will be getting mailed off this week. I think Power Rangers, this was this week's Power Rangers #15. It's kind of starting to get toward the conclusion of the Eltarian War. Continues to be good. And then I picked up a couple of cover buys that'll be going in the Legion loot box for next month. This is King Shark #5. It's the Peacemaker cover. They're doing a lot of these Peacemaker covers throughout the month just to kind of kick off the series starting. They did the same thing when Wonder Woman '84 dropped, when the Snyder cut dropped, which is pretty cool marketing. And I really love this one, man. I'm probably going to have to go back and get myself a keep copy. This is Simone DeMeo artwork, who does like We Only Find Them When They're Dead. But that's just really cool. I don't know why that person's art is so enjoyable for me. I hated the art when the person was on the Power Ranger title, but Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, probably up there, debatable for my read of the week. Definitely looking forward to getting into that. Detective Comics 1049, it's the Shadow of the Bat, the 3rd chapter of the Shadow of the Bat stuff. It continues to be good, just downright good Batman storytelling without Bruce Wayne Batman in it, though. Superman, Son of Kal-El, #7 from Tom Taylor. We Only Find Them When They're Dead concluded its 2nd story arc this week with issue 10. Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino's Primordial issue 4 dropped. I think I talked to somebody who said this is a miniseries and it's getting toward the end here. So I'm wondering how they're going to get to wrapping this up. It's got to do something. It's kind of like flattening out with this issue, but Seven Secrets, issue #13. This is the first issue after the 2nd story arc concluded. So this is the first issue of a new story arc. And this continues to be one of the most enjoyable reads. It's so original. It's really dynamic. It's got a huge story inside of it. That was last week's. Okay, so some of these are last week's that I just got around to reading this week, but that one is not. But Department of Truth, issue #15. This one was fantastic. Like, this is not written in a comic book format. It's more of like you're reading a dossier or something. But they really kind of leaned into some new elements in that. And then I picked up Eternals #9, this here cover for somebody as well that I'll be mailing off this week. I think that was it for the comics from this week. So let me catch back up on the chat here. I see it was popping off. People saying hello to each other. Good stuff. People saying hello to each other. A lot of greetings in there. What is going on, Bake the Snake? Geek Out with Roscoe. How are y'all doing tonight? First cover appearance of Eagly is coming soon. Yeah, I'm going to be on the lookout for that. So next week, there is one of the Peacemaker covers that I'm picking up multiple copies, and One will be going in the Legion loot box. Of course, there'll be the exclusives and stuff from Big Time Collectibles going in there. But I always try to throw a few extra things in there. And like this month, we have I have X-Men 4 and 5, the first appearance of Omega Red, and then that second appearance of that awesome cover. They're both included in this month's giveaway. But I also have there's Peacemaker books going in there. So I just try to fluff it up with some cool stuff. Last month I did the local comic shop day foil variants. But next week, what is it? Deathstroke issue number 5 has this Perillo cover. That's a wicked awesome cover. I absolutely love that cover. So I think I've got 3 copies ordered, one for the box, one for me. And I might actually send one of those off to CBCS just to get graded just for fun, even though I hate the idea of just sending modern books in for grading. I mean, they look great displaying them like that, but I've got some of those comic skins now too, those do-it-yourself slabs. So I might not send it in. I might just put it in one of those and use it to display for a while. I'm going to kind of teach myself how to make some of the labels for them properly. But that is absolutely a dope cover. So I'm going to be on the lookout for some more of them. I think that they did one for God, I forget what title it was. It was something that I don't pick up, but it was like an all red cover with kind of like a white silhouetted Peacemaker over a city. Yeah, it's a gorgeous cover. Super dope cover. But definitely excited for that. There's a lot of good stuff coming out next week, including that Peacemaker Disturbing the Peace issue 1 by Garth Ennis that I'm really looking forward to. That dude is a psychopath when it comes to writing comics. He writes some outrageous stuff. How-to video on those self-making slabs. Yeah, there is one, and there's more to it. There's a lot more to it. It's going to connect with something that has been going on a couple of months. You just kind of have to wait to see, because I can't really ruin the surprise because I'm doing something with it. So in the process of doing something with it, I'm going to record it, and once what I do gets to its destination, then I'll post the video. But yeah, it's going to be really fun. Especially for me. I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. It's going to be great. So for those in the chat, if y'all heard the information where they're going to be killing off the Justice League with issue 75. I don't know how many people might have seen that announcement, how many people really care, but I've been I found a couple of videos where like people just go off the reservation, like just hating anything that comics does and talking trash about it, just conversating with people. And I'm kind of looking forward to it. I mean, it's definitely a gimmick. I mean, that's what comics do. You know, they create gimmicks to sell books, to draw people in, old readers, young readers, new readers. And it's the 30th anniversary of the death of Superman, which was issue 75 also. So they're kind of commemorating it by doing a Death of the Justice League story. And Joshua Williamson will be taking over and writing the story. And it's going to be like a continuing from his Infinite Frontier miniseries that went straight into the Justice League Incarnate miniseries. It'll be leading into the death of the Justice League. And they're supposedly going to be gone for months. Well, after the death of Superman, there weren't Superman books for like 3 months. And they said that they're going to drag this out even longer. So if you remember about a year ago, we had the Future State stuff kicked off. And they had the Justice League, 2-issue Justice Leagues that they did 2 issues of Justice League where you had like Jonathan, Yara, Jace, you had Joe as the Green Lantern. It was actually really good. It was like that was surprisingly good content that was coming out of the Future State stuff. It shocked everybody, including myself. But in that story, the current Justice League was trying to hold themselves up to certain rules based on what they learned from watching their predecessors, the current Justice League. And they watched them all die, and because they didn't feel like that they would have abided by these certain set of rules, they might not have been dead. So what it looks like DC's doing is they're using this story, this event, this opportunity to kind of move some of these characters that front run and dominate the landscape for their comics, set them on the side for a while, and take some of these lesser known or newer characters and have them to front run them, give us readers a chance to see them do things, read books about them, give us a legit chance to fall in love with these characters. Because a lot of us, including myself, kind of just stick with the regular same old, you know, or like how the Yara Floor Wonder Woman series got canceled here recently. It wasn't really wasn't up to snuff. Enough readers weren't enjoying it. I started it, had to drop it, wasn't feeling it. But I think it's a decent idea. I think it'll be fun. I like the Yarflor stuff that was coming out of the Future State titles. I think the writer just kind of got a little bit too much on her plate at once to put that series out, though. Aggressively relaxing. What is going on? Williamson, loving everything he is doing at DC. Yeah, he's crushing it. I stopped reading his Robin books. They weren't bad. They were like written good enough. I just wasn't really interested enough to keep adding it to my pull list. I've got a lot of stuff on there as is that it's hard to find time to read all of it. But yeah, drop a comment in the chat. Let me know what one of your reads of the week were, or what you're looking forward to reading this upcoming week. I'm going to start pulling some of these back out and talking about some of them. We're going to start reviewing some of these books here. It's kind of weird. I haven't done a show by myself in so long. It's hard trying to just to carry it. Let's go ahead and start off with this She-Hulk book. So She-Hulk was written by Rainbow Rowell. I looked the writer up. It looked like she writes like a young adult, older teen fiction novels. I don't know. I think this might be this writer's first comic book. I couldn't find any other comic credits for her on the interwebs. But we have Jennifer Walters coming back to the city, broke as a joke, been gifted a job in a law firm. She went to work, and she was kind of a sad, miserable sack at the job. And then she went walking home, and Titania finds her on the street and wants to fight her just because. No reason in the world, just because. And she has to take her one business suit off, go green, and fight her. And the whole time, it was just a goofy conversation they were having while she was trying to fight her and hurt her. And they came to the conclusion that they both enjoy fighting each other to vent their frustrations. And they decided they're going to give each other their numbers, trade information, and they can go meet out in a parking lot every now and then and just fight it out just for good health measures. And it's kind of dumb. Just being straightforward, it was kind of dumb. After that, she kind of meets up with Janet, the Wasp, and goes to her old apartment where it's like she's being given a place to stay, where she goes and finds her old wardrobe, and it kind of ends with her happily like putting on her old clothes. And that was the gist of it. And while she's in there, the big kicker in it, Jack of Hearts pops up at the very end. So I don't remember reading anything with Jack of Hearts in it since Avengers Disassembled, probably. And that's where he died. He went, he blew up in that, if I remember correctly. Like Scott Lang went running outside because he saw Jack of Hearts, and Jack of Hearts blew up or something. That was the last time I remember seeing that, when Wanda flipped her lid and started altering reality and just killing everybody. It was nuts. That was the run where Hawkeye died and stuff. He didn't come back till House of M later on. But yeah, what is going on, Thomas? Hope you're doing well. Looking forward to Teen Titans Academy, Peacemaker, Disturbing the Peace, and Human Target, to name a few. My most anticipated is Serial number 10. That's that horror book, isn't it? Like I remember a couple of people mentioning it when that book Serial started. It was like a horror anthology, maybe. Mary Jane and Black Cat as well. So Teen Titans Academy, that next issue is they're teasing it on the cover that it is going to be the reveal of Red X revealed. So I don't know if they're actually going to come in hard and like show his full identity and stuff, or if they're going to like have him reveal himself to a character. It might just be more games they're playing, but either way, I'm on board. The Red X thing is what really had me hyped from the get-go of this. I'm glad that they're playing more with him now. So it looks like we got Main Man with Pots and Pans. Ryan, what is going on, man? Awesome. Glad you're doing good. So he's playing with his settings right now while he does that. Human Target's also dropping. That's been super fun. Tom King's Maxi series, where Christopher Chance took one for Lex Luthor and unintentionally got himself poisoned. He's on a time clock of 12 days to live, which aligns perfectly with a 12-issue Maxi series. And the prime suspects are the Justice League International. And he's just running through the list of suspects, and he looks like he's getting to Blue Beetle with the next one. That last issue with Guy Gardner, was awesome. They really played that perfectly. Weiwei's Comics, what is happening? What is going on? So you also mentioned the new Peacemaker series. I think that's going to be cool. I looked at the synopsis for it, and it looks like the structure of the book, he's going to be sitting down talking with a psychiatrist, looking back over his time in the military and his time with special forces stuff in the Peacemaker program and all that. So it'd be a cool little format of a way of kind of traversing through a lot of Peacemaker's story over the years. But I'd also just read this weekend issues 1 and 2 of the 1980 series that they did. And I didn't realize how absolutely twisted this guy was. Finally, Ryan has something smart to say. I didn't realize how absolutely twisted he was. So in the back of each issue, there's like 3 pages of small type print of it's like a write-up of his psychological profile along with the history of the Peacemaker program. And Ryan actually talked on it previously a few weeks ago where he had read it.
What's up? Can you hear me?
Us. Yeah, we can hear you. Chip apparently could hear you before.
Yeah, it's not going through my earbuds. Anyway.
Yeah, I was just kind of mentioning there's that new Peacemaker series dropping next week, and the way that the structure of the book is, he's going to be talking to a psychologist, which I think is pretty smart because they're going to be kind of talking about his time in the military, his time as a child, his time in the Peacemaker program. So it's a good way of formatting a 3-issue series of really introducing the character to readers right now who this might be their first Peacemaker book. And also in the 1980s 4-issue run that you read already, I read the first 2 issues today, and I didn't realize how broken and twisted that guy was as a character. Like his entire supporting cast, like he's the get it done guy, but he's got a mechanic, he's got a girlfriend that's a live-in, he has a maid that's a live-in, and all of them are actually working to make sure he doesn't psychologically break down and kill everybody. He's the only person that doesn't know what's going on in his life.
Yeah. That run is like twisted whenever you get all the like dossiers at the end of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And like you just realize like how that's what I really like about the show here that James Gunn has put together is like how well he's balanced all of that, because like in that series, like Peacemaker is a very complicated character, but they also like kind of compartmentalize everything, and you kind of go from like Mr. like awesome action hero on the beach to like him at home alone, like stuck with his thoughts. I think that's something that James Gunn has done a better job of is like kind of like blending all of that in and making him seem as multifaceted as he really is.
Yeah, and one thing that they haven't done with the show that they definitely do in the book. For one, in the book, his helmets are functional, just like in the first episode of the show. That sonic blast is something that he uses freely on people, like different degrees. He'll just walk up to somebody, I need answers. No way. And he'll just turn it on and just hold them still. You only got seconds to live. You better talk fast, and I'll turn it off. Like he abuses people with that thing. Yeah. As well as the fact that he rocks a jetpack. He doesn't have a big bulky jetpack, but he does have a jetpack at all times. Like he's able to jump out of a plane or helicopter and just go handle business. But the biggest thing that I noticed about the character that I haven't gotten into the show is the presence of his dad in his head. His dad's still alive in the show, but in the book, his dad committed suicide right in front of him when he was 5 years old to avoid Nazi war crime trials. And his dad's ghost pretty much stays with him, not a manifested ghost, but in his head, he is always talking to and seeing his dad. Like while he's doing anything, you just have this Nazi officer trash talking every decision you make about you're not good enough. And it's pretty wild. It's definitely wild. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm loving the show. Yeah, the show has got to be probably my favorite show I've watched, and I don't know how long, man. It's a total blast.
Right.
But real quick, just to catch up with you real fast. You I know you've been busy as all get out, man. Do you have a chance to read anything lately?
Actually, I read 2 Supergirl issues today. That's all I got to, but totally worth it.
Well, I mentioned it earlier that this is probably my read of the week. Oh, don't know if his earbuds went out. Did you read, what issues did you read of it? Was it the two most recent?
Well, yeah, the last one that I had read is the one with the sun, 45 minutes of sun.
Yeah.
And so then today I read the one with Comet when she chases the
Holy crap.
Mudrak ball or
Yeah.
whatever. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that issue was so good. Whenever she's like running through space, like at the height of it all, it's like these beautiful, like double page splashes of just like her, showing off speed comparatively to like something massive in the background, and like every one of those double page spreads is like just phenomenal. And then like the poetry he's weaving in the prose that's over there on the corners of those images, like come on, man, that series is too good.
It really is. I think I read that book first too, so that was a bad call on my part because it really sets a high bar.
Yeah, and then I forget what was. Oh, the most recent issue. Whenever Homegirl has what's his name from the hills,
Crim tied up.
Bram all tied up on that tree. Oh yeah, I read
Mhm.
that too. That was a trip.
I like how the issue before this one ended when they finally caught up to Crim and he's standing in front of them and they pull out their swords and bow and arrows and she quotes the line from the first book. You think I give a about swords and arrows? And that's how it cut out. I'm like, oh no, he's she's screwed, dude.
Yeah,
Absolutely screwed. Yeah, this one was fun. I like how they play into the aspect that just because you're a super being, Superman, Supergirl, whatever, you still have limitations. And she just was completely overwhelmed. Like I
yeah.
thought that was awesome. You know that people
I
see
love
her
the
and assume
dialogue
that
that
she
led
can
into
just
that.
do anything. Yeah, people see her and assume that she can just do anything. That when it gets just bad enough, you're able to muster up that last ounce of whatever, and you're able to win the day. That's not always the case. And she's laying there like hurt, beaten, and crying for Comet. I'm like, okay, go horsey, go.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was great. I like again like the way the dialogue accompanies the images. Like it's just I don't know. It's really cool the way it kind of like progresses the story and like the amount of like I guess like twists and turns it kind of does. Like it'll lead you in one direction on one side of the page and then like kind of twist it on you in the next page and kind of like give you like a different perspective on things. Like it was crazy to see. I think especially in that last issue to see her like kind of tell her version of the end of Krypton. Like from her perspective, which was much different than how we as outsiders perceive it. So
Yeah,
it's really
her
cool to have little Ruthie there like inside her head.
Yeah, and I thought it was extra heartbreaking because you never think about that. Is that she had to watch Krypton die twice because that city that she was in got shattered off Krypton and floated in space, where they're all slowly getting radiation poisoning, and she had to watch that great catastrophe while they were trying to stop it, just for a small meteor shower to cause it all over again. So it was like three huge, massive die-offs of her people that she lived through, where Clark just had to experience growing up without. She actually experienced three major
Yeah,
losses of people. Like
it,
it's
it it really
heartbreaking.
like kind of puts into perspective like her at the beginning of this series. Like somebody with that much trauma that for her 21st birthday, like she just wants to have a day where she can forget everything.
Mhm.
Like what did she say? I'd watched Krypton die 3 times and I was only 14. Like, man, that's haunting. I can only imagine what 21 would bring.
Yeah, it's a rough 21 so far for her. She lost her dog right out the gate. What is going on, Cole? How are you doing this evening?
But
Let's
yeah,
see.
that's been a phenomenal series.
So I don't know how much, dude. There's a lot of stuff you were reading that is continuing to be good. The
Oh, no
finale,
doubt.
the finale to the second arc of "We Only Find Them When They're Dead" dropped
Oh,
this week.
what?
Yeah, so that second arc finished, and just like that first one, they kind of capped off this series and left a massive cliffhanger at the end. We found out why what people's motives are in this now. Why would these people who are worshiping this dead god of Malik, there's all kinds of different motives inside of there. There's some that are legitimate worshipers, but there's a lot that were trying to get close to him because they want his God's heart, because they can use that. And basically, this is the future with different tech. You can create AI based off of people. You can get their consciousness and make AI. So they're wanting to take the God's heart out of him to get the DNA of him now as a God and create a living AI. So they can, in essence, bring him back to life and get the answers that they want to how to become gods themselves. So it's gotten wicked, and it ends with
awesome.
it ends with one of the standard time jumps that we get all through this book. They took off with the body. The people decided not to chase them. We get all this information about all these corporations that were wanting to do this. It isn't just about the rich people eating them. And the last page, we get a classic time jump to the AI sitting there as a person, just kind of answering like some Blade Runner-esque questions, and you can tell from his eyes that it's Malik. That's the only way that you can tell is from the two different eyes. I'm like, oh my god! And that's where
Seems
they
like
leave.
the Matrix or something,
Yeah, it was wild. Well,
that sounds awesome.
In that same style, Seven Secrets kicked off its first issue of the third volume with issue 13. So just what you'd expect, everybody just kind of getting in place. The series started out telling us that this is Casper telling the story of how he died. And like right in the beginning of this page, you see him laying there headless, talking about this is going to be the story how he dies. And we find out right after that, inside of case number 4, I think it was. It's irrelevant what number it is, but on one of the cases, they open it and it contains 3 futures written by these all-powerful, all-knowing beings thousands of years ago. 3 different futures are written in it. So it's leading me to believe that Casper's death is in one of those futures, not necessarily the one that'll play out. And after these people that have kind of turned on the Seven Secret Society read those 3 secrets, they determined based off of all 3 of them that Casper has to die immediately. So with the Seven Secret Society all spread out, trying to keep all of the secrets separated and safe, the people inside of the society, including Kanto there, are who are turncoats, and unbeknownst to them are turncoats, are kind of setting out to go knock off the rest of the team. So they're heavily thinning out at this point. It's been pretty dope.
That's what's up. That's one of those I need to get caught up on.
Yeah, it's super fun, man. There's a lot of these that I picked up. I had a huge haul this week that I picked up, and I weren't ones that I'm reading, or picked up multiple copies of books for other people that reached out to me. Hulk 3 dropped. This is a short one to explain. So the voyages of Starship Hulk, going where no Hulk has gone before, continue. And I actually left a comment on Donnie Cates' post that he responded to. He posted on the old Instagrams, "Where are all my Hulk fans at? What are you thinking of Hulk number 3?" And I commented down below it and said, this is worth pulling up, because he actually deleted the post after I think my comment ended up becoming the top comment on the post, and it had like 30-something likes the last time I looked at it. And he even responded to it before he deleted it. So my comment was honestly ... So with all due respect, it's edgy and violent with zero purpose yet. Art is fine, but I'm waiting for the story to start. It's upsetting seeing there has been zero consideration to the previous run, which was amazing. Also, hashtag Starship Hulk is probably going down in history as the most ridiculous version of Hulk ever. Not trying to offend, just giving my honest opinion, which is not a hot take. I'll continue to collect this run. I love the Hulk and will never bail on the character. Signed, Lifelong Hulk Reader. And his response was, "Yeah, I hear you. I just like writing comics I would want to read. Not for everyone, but nothing ever is. We're having fun. Hope you will too. And if not, that's fine. There'll be someone after me too." And I responded, "I appreciate you responding. That's been my thoughts. If it plays out well, awesome. If not, next." But Yeah, it was getting a lot of likes, and I think that he took it down. And somebody else made the point that Marvel could have asked him to take the post down, even not because of my comment, but just not wanting their stuff all the way out there like that. But needless to say, this issue out of the three was definitely my favorite issue out of the three, just because it's kind of starting, feels like it's actually seeding the story now. So, like I mentioned at the beginning, this is the first appearance of this new villain or this new persona or this new something. We don't know what it is yet, but it's been likened to Hulk's version of Null. I mean, it's not like the symbiote god in Hulk. It's probably going to be like the god of his personalities or something, because that's what it kind of looks like. It's just a shadowy figure. So 1, 2, 3, 4 panels right there in the beginning. You have this thing that's in like his dream there. And then later on in the book, so it's 4 panels there, 5, 6. So we got him in like 6 panels total. There he is again. It's like he's in Hulk, he's in Banner's subconscious. So I'm thinking this has got to be like some kind of, it just reminds me of the Devil Hulk thing or the One Below All stuff. You know, it doesn't feel like it's anything new, just retooled Hulk stuff, which I'm perfectly fine with, you know, if you tell a good story with it. But that part intrigued me. I'm actually interested for that to see who it's going to be or how they're going to introduce it. We do have this whole thing where Banner's the bad guy, you know, driving Hulk around, and maybe this being, this entity has something to do with Banner being the bad guy or being a psychopath. So we'll see. We'll see. It's still edgy with no purpose, though.
Yeah, it just doesn't really sound very good.
We went from this awesome, like philosophical, well-written, highly structured 50-issue run that was probably like, these people that are loving the violence, it was probably the most gory Hulk run I've ever seen. Like the way that they crafted the gore was very John Carpenterish, to this, like it's mindless fun. And like he mentioned, he likes to write comics he would read. I just wish he considered the fans of the characters when he wrote comics. And I'm sure he does, but that's just a weird thing to say. I like to write comics I would read. Well, dude, you're one person.
Yeah.
Like, that's what crossover's for, dude. Chill out.
That's kind of what I was thinking, is like, you know, why pick a character like the Hulk if, like, it's not that you don't have to have reverence for the character, but, like, at least the style and delivery, like, it seems like such a weird place for Hulk to be. It seems like a disservice to the character to write him in like some crazy manner like this, you know?
Yeah, and what's going on, Pops? And it upsets me because there's plenty of people in the comments are like, "Oh, this is awesome! I can't wait to read it, and keep doing what you do, man. I can't wait to read it." And like, dude, y'all quit. Like, you can be a fan and be critical. Like, critical doesn't mean negative; it just means critical. Like, constructive criticism is a thing. That's why I was use the words honestly and not trying to offend. Like, I didn't want my point to get lost in it. And I definitely appreciate him reaching out. He's like, yeah, I hear you. So it hasn't, I'm sure that isn't the first time he's heard that or read that, you know, but yeah, suck ups. And yeah, Pops left a comment. He said, the real question is, where's my Hulk? And Kate's responded to him too. He's in there. He's in the pages. He's easy to find, I swear. And the guy responded to Kate's, responding to Pops, and said, no, man, he actually has a valid question. So they're like you're not just gonna brush it off like that. That's not the Hulk. But yeah. I'll tell you what was amazing that paid perfect tribute to the characters, wrote them in epic fashion. That was Silver Surfer Rebirth. So
nice.
Issue 1 of a miniseries by the well-known creators Ron Mars and Ron Lim, who worked on the title back in the 90s and stuff. And this story takes place in that era. So you have the throwback writers writing a story that's set in that era. So it was classic late 80s, early 90s goodness. You have Surfer coming to the aid of Legacy, Mar-Vell's son, helping him save a ship from getting pulled into a black hole. And as they're flying off together, talking of days gone by, of his father who's passed away, there's this cool panel work where they're flying, and you can tell they just go through an event. In one panel, just crash through an event, and Legacy is no longer there. His dad is Mar-Vell, who should be dead. And he just basically the reality stone got triggered, and reality was changed, and Mar-Vell was alive. And they immediately, Marvel doesn't recognize this event. He just still thinks he's alive, and Surfer's talking weird. What do you mean, where have I been? We've been flying together through space, getting to this destination for a while now. And they fend off an invasion together. Some classic cool stuff of Surfer just chumping people off and using phrases like, to me, my board, with his hand outstretched. It was just phenomenal. And at the end, Thanos shows up, kills Marvel with like one blast, and tells Surfer, you got to come with me. I need your help. It was dope. It was super dope. Really excited for issue 2. Yeah. I want to burn through some of these real quick. Detective Comics 1049. We got more backstory on the guy, the doctor who was running the Arkham Tower, as well as the Bat family infiltrating the tower. We're finding out that it looks like it's a pharmaceutical scam going on, like this drug that's kind of making all these criminals seem docile and able to live and work and operate together is really a money-making scam. It is doing that to them. We haven't gotten to the side effects or the lasting effects or anything. But, yeah, I'm more excited about the next issue that'll cap off the first quarter of this 12-issue maxi series inside the pages of Detective, as well as it'll have a backup story for the upcoming World's Finest that Mark Waid and Dan Mora will be the creators on. But this has been just consistent, good Bat family storytelling. When we talked in the past, Ryan, about how an anthology book would be great to be able to spotlight the Bat family, and then they did a shitty job of writing it, they're doing it great with this. Batman is out of the country. The Bat family, all of them are in separate kind of places, working together, communicating well. Just this is a smooth book right now.
I fell off at Fear State. So Nakamoto was underground with Batman, separated by a wall.
Yeah.
Is it worth getting caught up, or should I just wait until the next thing happens?
Oh, this is where you need to jump in. Is at 40? Is the third one? So 46. 1046 is the first part of the Shadow of the Bat. This is a great jumping on point because Ivan Reis, who is doing the interiors for Batman Superman, that I'm always like, dude, Ivan Reis, you got to follow his art. He's like one of the.
That's what's up.
Yeah, he's done the interiors in this. This is where he went.
Yeah, that book was fire, man.
Yeah, so you have Mariko Tamaki and Ivan Reis crushing it, dude. And if you enjoy Gotham stories, like Gotham is back to Gotham now. Like the future state stuff, you can't even tell it was around. Like the style, the tone of Reis's artwork. He's been in the game a long time. You know, he's done these characters. He's got that feel for it. It is just it's good, consistent Gotham storytelling. Like I'm enjoying it.
That's what's up.
The main Batman title you need to pick up too. Boom! Williamson's killing it. Superman, Son of Kal-El continues to be a great story. This one was probably the weakest issue out of the 7 issues, and it's still at least a 7 out of 10. So it's only one of the weak ones because it was very action-driven. With these, so much of what's made these stories great is so much heart in them. All these Jonathan kind of coming into his own, trying to figure out how to operate as an adult with this much responsibility. We're getting to watch him make mistakes and errors along the way. But in this issue, we see him kind of flex that heart that Superman himself is known for, trying to understand his adversary and even trying to recognize if it is an adversary at first. And some of Bendix's goons show up and throw a wrench in the plan. And it's basically Superman versus a giant sea monster. You get a cameo by Aquaman, or was Aqualad, Jackson, and Superboy here are fighting together to try to stove off this sea creature from making landfall. And Bendix he's been kind of superpowering people himself on his country. That's what he's kind of doing the human trafficking for. He sends his elite squad in to try to make a good show on television, and they show up and actually make things worse. And you lose them along the way. Let's just put it that way. They don't, not all of them make it even to start the fight. The last 2, Department of Truth leans heavily into the Mothman, as well as they introduce us to a character more important than the woman in red, it seems like. If you're not reading this book, get on it. This is some of the most creepy storytelling I've ever read in a comic book. This issue specifically, it was daytime. I'm sitting on my couch reading it, and I felt unnerved by the way that this story was presented. We got introduced to this character called Ingrid Cole, who has shown up a couple of times throughout history and has left an imprint in a very unnerving, uncomfortable way. And it looks like he could be, they've introduced these the fictions 2 different ways, these things that materialize out of belief 2 different ways now. We have the way that we've been shown before, how there's just these creatures that materialize with no intent. They're just here because we believe them to be. But now it's looking like there are these things that have materialized with intent, and they get into the distinction of those two things, and it is so unnerving. And they also lean heavily into showing that Lee Harvey Oswald might not, in fact, be the real Lee Harvey Oswald like they teased a couple issues ago. Fantastic read. Oh, and Mothman is a product of UFOs.
Oh, nice.
The department trying to play with the idea of creating fictions and put the UFO myth out there. An unknown flying object. Well, that's not enough description. If enough people hear the term an unknown flying object, you end up with stuff like this. Mothman. That was really cool. Cool twist. And they put that is issue 15.
15.
So they put a lot of real history into this one too, like actual catastrophes in American history, and they kind of weaved it into the story in cool different ways. Where I was actually stopping and looking up the things they were talking about, like bridge collapses where 40 people died and stuff like that, and it was nuts. Last one I read this week, Primordial, issue number 5. So I read this probably in like 3 minutes. There was nothing to this issue. Time jumped. So the woman who owned the dog, she's old, has a daughter, and she gets a beacon, and she makes her daughter take her to that old satellite that we last saw her and the main American character in, being chased by the KGB. And apparently looks like he died in that event, but she survived, and they went back because they were getting a signal, and the spaceship that the critters were on has showed back up at Earth. And of course, in classic Earth fashion, all the government sent out fighter planes to intercept it, even fired on it, hitting Abel, the big monkey. So it ended with Abel laying there, looked like dying. So that was literally everything about the book. I probably even added to content for that issue. There was nothing to it.
I only read the first 2 issues still, so.
Issues 3 and 4 were really cool. It focuses heavily on the animals, and they use those 2 issues to create the emotional connection to the reader and the animals. So they did a really good job of that. Like, they're just trying to get, the little dog's just trying to get home to its owners, and the monkeys are like, yeah, we ain't trying to go back there. The Earth was not too kind to us. And as soon as they show up, they get shot. It was rough. I did read Nightwing. I can't remember what happened in Nightwing, but I read Nightwing. I remember it being good. It had some, now I remember. It took a hit out on Dick Grayson. Bat Family showed up. Teen Titans showed up, help intercept the hit on him. Some of the best panel work I've seen in comics in a long time in that issue. So highly suggest that.
Yeah, I need to get caught up on that still.
Yeah. So that's the comic reviews. The one-man comic reviews, 2-man Supergirl review. So let's talk Peacemaker, man.
Peacemaker?
Did you watch episode 4?
Yes, I did. I watched it like Thursday morning, so a little foggy on that one, but yeah, I did watch it.
Foggy on 4? Oh,
yeah.
You watched it morning?
Yeah, I watched it Thursday morning. It's been a few days.
Yeah, you had a vigilante drive him home. He finds out his dad's in jail. You have him go visit his dad. You have them tie Judo Master up on the couch where he gets out. Peacemaker fight Judo Master. They stole all the helmets out of his dad's basement. Vigilante embeds himself in the jail.
So when he throws the trash can into the window, right?
Yes. Dude, that scene when he shows up to the table in the jail and just starts trash talking him, and then he actually shows that he's got the goods, man. He doesn't get chumped off in this.
He's like such a knockoff Ryan Reynolds, but like still kind of charming in his own way,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's awesome. I've loved what they've done with the character for this.
Yeah. I don't know. This episode was crazy. But it was cool to like really get to see Vigilante like in action because he's been here for so long now, it seems. And we really haven't seen much out of him other than whenever he took over the sniping.
Yeah.
But it was cool to like actually see him fully in action and like see that he is somebody that you probably shouldn't mess with.
So some of the little details. So we did get to see his dad actually has like a supervillain outfit, the white dragon inside of it. And they described the closet, the basement, the armory, whatever it is. It's a subatomic, multi-dimensional pocket that he's able to access through technology. So they got into that, which was pretty cool. Like they leave no threads hanging. They always anything that they kind of dabble with or something that sounds crazy, they get back to it shortly and they make sense of it for inside the show. And yeah, dude, absolutely, John. I'm loving how Gunn has set this up so long ago and is building it. Yeah, because he was writing this during the Suicide Squad. He knew what was coming. But we saw the White Dragon's outfit, which I thought is terrible. Racism bad because you missed it, but I was hanging out with Ruben on his Thursday night chat, and he comes out of left field. He's like, "So did you like the White Dragon outfit?" I'm like, "You can't. What are you asking? Did you like it, Ruben? Like, what are you asking me here? Like, I'm not falling for that." But he looks like a formidable villain. So I think that we're going to see Peacemaker fighting his dad in that suit for sure. Like, there's no way we're getting around that now.
Yeah.
I like when he got into it with the neighbor again over how he operates versus how Batman operates, and called him probably the most demeaning string of swears I've ever heard somebody call an elderly person. It was insane. There's a lot of good stuff in this episode.
Yeah, it was a good episode. It added well to like the first three, because not that I was afraid that it was going to falter, but having three at once was really nice. And then I was like, I don't know how it's going to feel week to week, but like I think this was a really good episode, and I want to check it out again before Thursday, before we get the next one.
Yeah, I've watched it twice now. Dude, what got me was the end when they hit the song montage, and you have Vigilante walking out of the jail to the old rock ballad, and he sits down in the car and just quietly kind of looks at her and says, "I think I've made it worse."
Oh yeah.
And we're actually getting the flashbacks of Peacemaker's childhood. So they're actually doing a good job balancing out like all the different plot progressions we need from his history to his current situation. They even called back to the Suicide Squad again when he was sitting there trying to drink himself to sleep, basically, because he's just hurting and he's lost internally. And when they kind of call back to Rick Flag, him killing Rick Flag, that's still haunting him. We learn that there's like these mysterious circumstances surrounding his brother's death, which obviously we see his brother fall. What looks like they're outside. And he falls down convulsing with a bloody nose and foaming at the mouth. So I'm guessing that he was made. This is just me guessing. I'm guessing he was made to fight his brother for entertainment for the adults around them. And in the midst of doing that, he probably takes a cheap shot on his brother, grabs a pole on the ground or something and cheap shots and accidentally kills him. That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah. Sounds accurate. Maybe one way to mess up a kid.
I'm just speculating here. What is going on, Kenneth Bird? Justin Birch, the man, the myth, the legend. What is going on? Carlito, what is up, man? Yeah, other than that, the Book of Boba Fett dropped another episode. I don't know if you've been watching that.
No, I've heard a lot of pretty sour reviews on it.
Yeah, it's extremely skippable. It's always fun to delve into Star Wars stuff, but they're making this very hard for me with just lazy writing. For example, in this episode, Boba has a flashback in this episode of himself because he's having like nightmares all the time. He was remembering crawling out of the Sarlacc that ate him, wearing his armor as he's crawling out of the Sarlacc. But then later in the episode, he goes to the Sarlacc looking for his armor, trying to find it, which we know from The Mandalorian where it is, but in the flashbacks of him just kind of like how are you going to do that in the same episode? It's not even separate episodes. It's just
wow. Yeah.
It's rough. It's a lot of that kind of writing where they're just they're forgetting what they're writing as they write it. I still think that there's a team of student filmmakers that were observing the process of filmmaking on the set of The Mandalorian And they gave them permission to stay after hours and use the resources left behind to make their own miniseries. And this is what they came up with. That's what it feels like to me.
I never even really cared for the name, so.
What, Boba Fett?
Call me cheap. Huh?
The name Boba Fett?
The Book of Boba Fett or whatever?
Oh, the Book of Boba Fett? Yeah, I haven't seen him writing a book or anything. I don't know what it even means to have a Book of Boba Fett. But they did tease that the Mandalorian might be popping up. TM Nerdy pointed this out to me today when he mentions at the end of the episode that we're going to need some reinforcements. They kind of hit the Mandalorian music. So we'll see.
I still haven't seen any of the Mandalorian, so.
Oh, dude, it's fantastic. Like, they set the bar high with that. Yeah, it's really good. But we're going to keep it short tonight, man, unless you got something else you want to go over or talk about.
No, that's it. I just want to read some more comics, honestly, and get caught up.
Well,
Supergirl, that was an awesome experience. I want to check out New Burn and get caught up on that, too.
Next issue drops Wednesday.
Yeah.
Issue number 3. So there's supposed to be doing the plot with this one where there's supposedly somebody coming out and knocking off people out of all the crime families. So looking forward to it. So I appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. I know there's a lot of football going on. There's so many Instagram chats exploding with just football talk right now. Brain numbing.
I guess we're getting toward the end of their season or whatever.
I don't know how it works, Ryan.
Yeah. I think they have like a big game in February every year. So.
Is that when the Super Bowl is?
I think so.
Oh, well, look, Bert just popped in, so I'm assuming that did your team win, Steve? Because I know that dude, it was, I mentioned earlier, the chat has been Steve versus the Comic Vet in the chat because their two teams were playing each other. So Steve's happy. That means Comic Vet is probably feeling not happy.
Not happy.
Not happy. So everybody in the chat, if you haven't already, be sure to enter my 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I'm going live this coming Wednesday for the big celebration and everything. It's going to be a blast. There's still time to enter. Do not forget to enter before it's too late. My Chiefs beat Chris, the Comic Vet's Bills in overtime. Why didn't they do it in regular time? I'm just kidding. Well, congratulations to you. I know Becker is a fan of them as well. So I'm going to head out and go check on the little one. But I appreciate everyone watching. Thank you for jumping in. Until next time, guys, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.